A dominant party system, a one-party dominant system, is a system where there is a category of parties, political organizations that have successively won election victories and whose future defeat cannot be envisaged or is unlikely for the foreseeable future. A wide range of parties have been cited as being dominant at one time or another, including the Kuomintang in the Republic of China, the African National Congress in South Africa, the Liberal Democratic Party in Japan, and Bangladesh Awami League in Bangladesh. Historical overview. Opponents of the dominant party system of theory argue that it views the meaning of democracy as given, and that it assumes that only a particular conception of representative democracy is valid. One author argues that the dominant party system is deeply flawed as a mode of analysis and lacks explanatory capacity, but it is also a very conservative approach to politics. Its fundamental political assumptions are restricted to one form of democracy, electoral politics, and hostile to popular politics. This is manifest in the obsession with the quality of electoral opposition and its sidelining or ignoring of popular political activity organized in other ways. The assumption in this approach is that other forms of organization and opposition are of limited importance or a separate matter from the consolidation of the version of democracy. One of the dangers of dominant parties is the tendency of dominant parties to conflate party and state and to appoint party officials to senior positions irrespective of having the required qualities. Quote, however, in some countries this is common practice even when there is no dominant party. In contrast to one-party systems, dominant party systems can occur within a context of a democratic system. In a one-party system, other parties are banned, but in dominant party systems other political parties are tolerated, and operate without overt legal impediment, but do not have a realistic chance of winning. The dominant party genuinely wins the votes of the vast majority of voters every time. Under authoritarian dominant party systems, which may be referred to as electoralism or soft authoritarianism, opposition parties are legally allowed to operate, but are too weak or ineffective to seriously challenge power, perhaps through various forms of corruption, constitutional quirks that intentionally undermine the ability for an effective opposition to thrive, institutional and/or organizational conventions that support the status quo, or inherent cultural values averse to change. In some states, opposition parties are subject to varying degrees of official harassment and most often deal with restrictions on free speech, lawsuits against the opposition, rules or electoral systems designed to put them at a disadvantage. In some cases, outright electoral fraud keeps the opposition from power. On the other hand, some dominant party systems occur, at least temporarily, in countries that are widely seen, both by the citizens and outside observers, to be textbook examples of democracy. The reasons why a dominant party system may form in such a country are often debated. Supporters of the dominant party tend to argue that the party is simply doing a good job in government and the opposition continuously proposes unrealistic or unpopular changes, while supporters of the opposition tend to argue that the electoral system disfavors them, or that the dominant party receives a disproportionate amount of funding from various sources and is therefore able to mount more persuasive campaigns. In states with ethnic issues, one party may be seen as being the party for an ethnicity or race, with the party for the majority ethnic, racial or religious group dominating. E.g., the African National Congress in South Africa has strong support amongst black South Africans. The Ulster Unionist Party governed Northern Ireland from its creation in 1921 until 1972 with the support of the Protestant majority. Subnational entities are often dominated by one party due to the area's demographic being on one end of the spectrum. spectrum. For example, the current elected government of the District of Columbia has been governed by Democrats since its creation in the 1970s, Bavaria by the Christian Social Union since 1957, and Alberta by Progressive Conservatives 1971 to 2015. On the other hand, where the dominant party rules nationally on a genuinely democratic basis, the opposition may be strong in one or more subnational areas, possibly even constituting a dominant party locally. An example is South Africa, where although the African National Congress is dominant at the national level, the opposition Democratic Alliance is strong and dominant in the province of Western Cape.